What is the process through which the Symphony Center was named after you?
The questions about how was the Symphony Center named after me, it's a strange story. I worked on it for 10 years. I said I was president of EDS at the time that it started, and there were two families in Dallas who were going to give money and name it for their families. And in the middle of the 1980s, there was a great crisis in the real estate market, and there was all kinds of problems in the economic situation. These families wound up not giving the money. And so I was asked to go meet with Ross Perot, who was chairman and founder of EDS, and I worked for Ross. And he knew, because he used to ask me, he says, so what are you doing with the Symphony Hall? And I'd take him drawings. And so he knew pretty well what I was doing, but I had never asked him for money. As a matter of fact, when I took the job as the chairman of the committee, I specifically said that I would not raise money because that's a very difficult thing, and I wanted to focus on the building of the hall. But we didn't have a donor, and so I went to see Ross, and I walked into his office, and in literally 3 minutes, I said, Ross, you know we have economic tough times, and I'd like to ask you for $10 million to give to the symphony, and if you give the $10 million, then we could name it the Ross and Margot Perot Symphony Hall or the Perot Family Symphony Hall, or you could name it for your mother. His mother had just died the year before, or your parents, or what have you. And I think this would be a wonderful thing for Dallas. And he said to me, will this be an outstanding symphony hall? And I said, you can't guarantee, but we've taken every possible risk out, and with a little bit of luck, this will be in the top 1% of symphony halls in the world. And he said, that's good enough for me, so I'll give the money. And I'm telling you, this took 3 or 4 minutes. And I was elated because I had never asked anybody for $10 million. And it made me want to say, how about 5 for me? But I didn't. And then I stood up. He had a gigantic desk, and I had a chair in front. I stood up, and he said, well, there's only one consideration. I said, what's that? And he said, I'd like to name it the Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Hall. And that's what I want to name it. So do you want the money? And so that's how it got to be the Morton H. Meyerson Symphony Center.
Hi, this is a question for Mr. Morris Meyerson. I was just wondering, as a chorus member, what was your most memorable experience?
That's, okay, so the question is, what was my most memorable experience? I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to take, because I have the microphone and you don't, I get to choose 2. All right, the most significant time in 1998, I sang in the chorus of the Dallas Symphony Chorus, and we were singing Mahler II, Mahler Symphony II, Resurrection. I sing second bass, and when you sing second bass, you sit and listen to the orchestra play for 43 minutes, and you just sit there. Then you have the downbeat, and the chorus comes in, and the second basses sing, and you sing a very low note. It's very hard to do. And we came in on pitch. It worked. It was a fantastic experience singing Mahler II. I love Mahler. To not say anything about Wagner, but I love Mahler. And it was a great experience, but the reason why it was so significant, it was the last time I sang that my son, who died in 1998, he heard me sing. So that was an extraordinary experience for me. The second one that is not as sad as that story was there was a small subset of the Dallas Symphony Chorus, I think about 80 of us, volunteered to go to New York and to sing with Eve Quayler, a Donizetti. I was in the chorus, and we sang Donizetti's Palaiuto. I had not sung much Italian in my life. I'd sung a lot of Latin, German, French, but I'd say mainly Latin and German. And I had only sung Italian one time, and so it was like a new experience. And the conductor, Eve Quayler, took us at a very fast pace, and we had to sing 3 syllables on one note, carried back to back to back. That's really hard to do. But I had never sung in Symphony Hall, in Carnegie Hall. And so this was some experience. I'd never sung opera on Carnegie Hall. My 2 daughters and grandchildren were in the audience. That was an extraordinary experience. And I'm hoping that Donizetti, who you're going to hear tonight, someday there'll be a Palaiuto.
I'll hold you then. Yeah.
For both of you, I'd like to ask, what is your favorite recreational piece of music to listen to? Both gentlemen, whoever'd like to go first.
What is recreational?
Recreational?
That
I don't
sounds like a
know.
drug. I'm not.
I think actually if I just want a complete peace and quiet, it'd be the Schubert String Quintet second movement, the slow movement, which is that wonderful German word, we have it in English, timeless, but in German, zeitlos. Time stops. And you hear the slow ticking heartbeat of Schubert's heart, and it is the most pure music, knowing that this wonderful man who only lived till he was 31 couldn't get any of his symphonies performed in Vienna, and he was more or less ignored. If you don't know it, the Schubert String Quintet is one of the great passions.
That's a very difficult question because I have all kinds of a broad interest in all kinds of music, but I think if I had to select one and just sit there, I think I would take any one of the Bach quartets, and because there's something about Bach that appeals to me. Maybe it's my computer background, maybe it's the structure, but I can feel the music, I can hear the music, and I can understand what he was trying to say.